Hello.
Hi!
My stand keeps falling and I'm trying to fix it. So don't
Isn't
mind
that
me
so
over here.
annoying too when you're just trying to get set up and everything's falling apart?
I know. I'm could you just not? I wore that shirt yesterday. That's so funny. Is that from Target?
Yes, do you have it?
I do. Yes.
Oh my god, yes. I love it. I love how just
It's very oversized and boxy, which I
yes.
love.
As soon as I bought it, I'm like, I will take it in the biggest size you have because I
I
just
know.
want to wear it as a dress. But then it shrunk, so now it's shorter, so I have to wear shorts under it because it doesn't cover my ass, but it's still big.
Man,
I just
I
can't
hate
wear
it.
it as a shirt dress anymore.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I guess I haven't noticed mine if it's shrunk or not. Probably has. Everything's tighter than it used to be after 2 kids anymore, so.
I hear that. I love your headband. It's so cute.
Thanks. I think it's Target actually.
See, Target. I really have to stay away from that place. I know
Oh,
everyone says that, but yeah, I can't set foot in there because it's minimum $150 every time I walk in.
oh, and that's a low minimum. I feel for
Exactly.
it's just
Minimum $150.
yeah. Hi, sir. Could we just not? Sorry, my dog
How
is
are you tonight? No, you're fine. You're fine.
good. How are you, Donnie? If you could just see yourself out, that'd be amazing. He's literally wants all the attention. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. It's been a nice day. My husband had the day off because he worked overtime this week, so we have a 4-day weekend now because of Memorial
Amazing.
Day. So that's exciting. How
That's
how many kids do you have?
two.
Two. How old are they?
I have a 2-year-old, and then Story just turned 1.
Oh,
So
that's so
yeah.
cute. So our
Oh,
son will be 5 in August, and we have a
okay.
2.5-year-old girl.
Fun. So is your
Yeah.
son starting kindergarten then in the fall?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're gonna
Okay.
homeschool, but yeah.
Okay. I taught kindergarten before I went author full time, so that's why.
Oh,
But
how was that? How do you like teaching? I feel like teachers just deserve awards for the type of heart you need to have to want to be a teacher. That's just a very special calling.
I mean, I loved it. There was a lot of things I loved. I loved the kids and stuff like that, but I did not love the I don't know, I guess politics that came with it. There was a lot. It really depends on your admin, your principal. And
Yeah, yeah.
I had a great principal my first year, and then it kind of went downhill. And so I was very happy that
Ooh.
I could become an author full time because I was ready
Yeah.
to.
So how long have you been a full-time authar?
This was my first full year. So technically I went full time, I guess last May. A year now. So
How was it then? How was
I
the
mean,
year
good.
going?
I
Did you
mean,
celebrate after your 1 year?
I guess no, not really. I mean, I released rewrite right around then. So
Yeah.
it just kind of, I don't know. I feel I celebrated that release, and
Mhm.
I feel it really hit me with Black Ties because that was my second book I released while being a teacher full time. But
Mhm.
the first book I released was the fourth book in a series. So that one, you know what I mean, had the loyal fan base to that, but it wasn't anything like Black Ties, which is a total standalone that
Yeah, yeah. Which
you
I
know.
loved, by the way.
Thank you.
I thought it was so good. I know I felt so bad. I'm like, I know she just released a new book, but we're going to talk about this not
Oh,
book because
oh no, Black Ties is having a moment all over again, so it's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, no, I loved it. And the girlies in my book club loved it.
Yay!
The banter was really funny.
I love Blanchard.
I love just how obsessed he was.
Oh, he's
Honestly.
totally a man obsessed.
He is, but I feel like he played it cool, you know? At
Yeah,
times almost too cool. Where I was like, you can just come out with it. Just tell her. It'll
yeah,
be in your favor.
it's very true. Yeah. No, he was stubborn for sure. He was trying to act like he wasn't totally obsessed with her,
I
but
know,
he
but
was.
it was weird because he would let out his crazy a little bit and then rein it in and try to act like it wasn't a big deal. But he straight off the bat, beginning chapters is I bought this company just to talk to you.
Yeah. Yep.
I want a man so rich that he's like, hey,
Right?
you go to this Trader Joe's every day? I'll buy it just so that I can I don't know, see you after hours. Whatever.
It's probably nice of you to own a Trader Joe's though. Like just
Truly. My sister and I have this running joke that whoever Joe is, he's like our uncle. And we're like, oh yeah, Uncle Joe. We'll just bring it up with Uncle Joe. And, and it started because mm, this is gonna paint my sister in a bad light, and it's not. It's something just comedic that she does because she's an actor and she's in theater and improv, where sometimes when she's going to Trader Joe's that aren't her regular one, she will just like in the checkout line when she's talking to the cashier, just make up stories about her life that totally aren't true. She'll be like, "Oh yeah, like when she wasn't married, she'd be like, my husband at home," even though she was like living single, she'd be like, "Oh yes, my two children and our dog, you know."
hey, I love it.
Like she would just make up life stories. Like, you know what you should do? You should just like for clout make up that you're related to Joe, like whoever he is. Who knows if they know who like he's a trader, like yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I
Like
love
they're
that.
compulsive lies. Just like have fun with it.
Yeah. I mean, they're never a no. You probably won't even ever see them again. What if like she like, told the same person like two different things? But she's like, no, I don't have any kids. Next time she's like, I have two kids, my husband, like
I know she lives right by a Trader Joe's and she's like, I can't tell lies to those because they see me too often, but she's just out and about. She will for sure fabricate details about her life. Just like for improv's sake.
Hey, that's fun though.
In fact, I think I read a book where they did that one time. I think it was a T.L. Swan book.
Oh, really?
I think it was Dr. Stanton. Maybe. Where whenever they were in, this couple found themselves in elevators, they would just like make up a whole different life. Whether it was just between the two of them or whether like other people, they would just make up a conversation. So at the end, she's like pregnant with his child and they're in with this elderly couple in the elevator. And she's like, oh, what are we going to tell my sister? This is your engagement party. Like she has to know the baby's yours. And this elderly couple's like scandalized.
Oh my God.
And he's just going with it being like, oh, I don't know.
How fun would that be though? I want to take that idea now.
I'm just not like quippy enough.
I'm not either.
I
would think of that like 10 minutes later. I'm like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no.
You have to have someone who can riff off of you really well.
Yeah.
That takes chemistry for sure.
I feel like I'd laugh the whole time. Like I laugh when I'm uncomfortable, and I feel like I'd be like uncomfortable. I would just laugh. Like I would just
I laugh when I'm uncomfortable too.
Just
like a stranger comes up to me and just like won't leave me alone, and I'm just like and they're like, see, she wants me to keep hanging out, and I'm like, please leave.
Oh no, I really like don't find you funny. I just don't know what else to do to fill the silence.
Truly.
Oh my God.
I have like some of my highlights here from the book.
Oh man.
And you know what? Because it's TikTok, I can't say anything that's like too spicy, but I feel like there were some of these like funnier moments that I noticed. Like, I mean, I obviously highlighted when he like showed up at her work and was like, I own this company now. It's like, yeah, because you were ignoring my calls. But I knew nothing about this book going into like I went in pretty blind. So when he was like, also, I know you're gonna be my assistant, but let's just go with the fact that I also need you to be my fake fiance. I was like, what? I don't know whether that was in the blurb or not, but it caught me by surprise because I didn't read the blurb before going in.
I
just casually dropped that.
I cannot imagine not reading a blurb. I don't think I've ever gone to a book blind, like ever.
You know, it's actually really rare for me.
Really? Okay.
I think the reason I didn't was there were just so many people who I saw were like, this book was good, just like read it. And so it's like, okay. And then I saw you in Seattle and I was like, okay, well, I think I had started it right before Seattle, but I wasn't very far in, maybe like 20 pages. And then my book club voted on it. So I'm like, okay, I'll hold off until the end of next month.
Your
But
husband that blazer. Like, what a supportive king. I'm still not. I just like.
really,
Those are the cutest things
full
ever.
stop, he picked out that blazer himself.
I love
We were
that.
at the store and he was like, "That's the Mr. Rose blazer." Like,
I love that so much. Is he coming to Book Bonanza with you?
no, he's so sad. He's so sad. But
Man,
the
he was thriving.
I know it wasn't really planned far enough in advance. It was sort of like a last minute
Yeah.
thing, and I was kind of scrambling to be like, can I find a hotel room? And so I'm gonna be rooming with a couple of other girls, and I didn't even have a ticket. I was just gonna go and like do my thing, and hang out with people after hours. But then I did just find someone who's willing to sell their ticket, and so I'm like, sick, I'll actually be able to attend.
Not to derail this conversation, but I'm so excited to have my hair done.
Yes, I'm so excited. You have so much hair too. It's like long and beautiful. We can basically do anything we want.
I have a lot of it, so be prepared. And I'm getting it dyed on the 11th, so like it'll be freshly red again, which I'm so excited about.
That so much. What's your natural hair color?
Like brown, like I don't know if you can kind of see up there, but like
Yeah.
it's kind of like it picks up red. I mean, it's obviously not that like vibrant red, but like
No,
it's got like those auburn like tones to
like
it.
a natural ginger auburn.
Yeah. I pass it on to my son. He gets like strawberry blonde hair, and everyone's like, "Oh no!" And I'm like, "Yeah, sorry, dude." It's cute though. Like it's not full red. Like it's just like a little like strawberry blonde.
One of my sisters is kind of like a mousy medium blonde, and we do kind of like a similar hair color, like a medium ginger color, and it just looks so natural on her because she's like pale. She's got these blue eyes and like blonde eyebrows, and I just did her hair last night and was like, you were just made to be a ginger. You're just made. Like, it looks so natural.
Oh my god, the dream. I would love that. I would take full advantage of that. Sorry, my dog was playing with the ball and it distracted
No,
me.
you're fine. Tips in the comments. Yeah, she's gonna be one of my roomies at Book Bonanza. So we're gonna be hanging out.
I'm so excited. I can't believe it's so soon. Like it's like come out of nowhere.
I know.
Man, I gotta order all my books. I gotta ship them.
Yes. So, question: do you have audiobooks for your books yet?
So I have audiobooks for the first couple books in my mixtape series. Okay. And then Black Ties audio comes out June 27th.
That's so soon. Who are the narrators? Have you announced that yet?
Yeah, Lee Samuels and Savannah Peachwood.
I love Savannah. I probably have heard Lee Samuels. I just can't picture his voice off the top of my head. But I know I love Savannah.
So like Black Tides, like I don't even know if it'd been out like a day when I got like Podium bought the rights and picked up the rights. Like right when Black Tides was kind of like taking off, I had the luxury. I know it was again like Black Tides was just a wild ride. Still is. But like it was right at the time that everyone was like experiencing Black Ties. So like I just put like a question box in my stories and I was like, hey, like who do you guys see as Beck and Margot? Just like see, like I knew that the audio company was wanting to like start recording like right away. So I was like, I don't know if we're gonna be able to get certain people, but like I just wanted to know like who do people want. And then like number one for Margot was Savannah. Hey, Donnie, sir. Sorry, the squeaky toy.
Fine. I usually have toddlers in the background.
Was like everyone wanted her, so I put that name down as long as a few others, and then Lee Samuels and one other person were like the top 100% for Beck. And so like I told that to the audio company, and like I didn't really know if they'd be able to like get them because always people have schedules, like tight schedules and stuff like that, but yeah, they did. And I was like, oh, I was so excited because that's like who everyone wanted. So Donnie, sir,
that's amazing when stuff just like works out like that.
Yes. And I can't say anything about for Rewrite Our Story, but like I know who the narrators are and everything, and like I'm geeking out. I'm so excited. So
amazing. I love the new cover that popped up for Black Ties. Now you have 3 covers. That's so exciting. Is that like a special edition like book box kind of cover, or is it like just another one that you're putting out?
That's just for signings right now.
Awesome. I'll have to pick myself up a copy if we're going to be a book bonanza.
Yeah, they will. There'll be a book bonanza, and that one's gonna be fun because it's the first one that the extended epilogue is ever printed in as well. Like right now, that's just sent out to like newsletter subscribers for me for Beck and Margot, but that will be printed in the book. We might have to lock him out, or give him a different toy. Sorry, they never do this until I'm like doing these.
It's honestly like I'm not even paying attention to
And
it.
then they find the loudest toy possible. But yeah, so I'll have
It probably
those.
bothers you more than it bothers anyone else.
I just always feel so bad because I'm like, oh my God, seriously, guys.
My husband is out on a run with the kids, and he wasn't gonna take them at first, and I'm like, maybe you should because I'm gonna be on a live, and if you're not here, it's just gonna be like, mom, mom.
I feel that in my soul. I feel that in my soul.
Yeah.
That's fun though.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Truly. Cece, I wish you were going to Book Bonanza. I see you, girl. I want to meet you in person one day so bad and give you a big old squeeze. But, okay. I'm going through some of these. It's this part where he's like, you have to move to New York with me. Like, Monday. You have, like, the weekend, and that's it. And she, you know, took a couple days and didn't return his call. So he just shows up at her house. Yes. He drives to her house from work and says, are the planes leaving today? You gotta pack your shit. And she's literally is packing for 20 minutes. And it's like his internal dialogue saying that, like, he's just losing his patience. He's like, I just can't. I can't.
He's unhinged. I love him.
Like
he
is telling me to pack up her whole life and move to New York with you. And 20 minutes into it, you've missed a couple phone calls and you're losing your mind.
He's unhinged. He's unhinged. He's like, I'm just gonna buy you all new stuff, so this is pointless. He's like, get your sentimental shit and let's go. Like,
I was so obsessed with it too. And he's like, what do we gotta do to like just get you out of here?
I love him. He was so fun. He was like such a different character for me to write.
Yeah.
Like he was like, he's a cinnamon roll, but not a cinnamon roll. Like deep down, like I feel like he is such like a cinnamon roll, but God, he pretends so hard that he's not. That it was so fun to write
like
him.
a grumpy cinnamon roll.
Yes, like didn't know those existed, but they do.
For sure. Is this like a full up standalone? Are you planning on writing more books in this universe?
So it is a full standalone. In true myself fashion, I didn't think that I would like I really thought it was gonna be like 100% like those characters or just that book, but I can't do that. So Tempt Our Fate, which is the second book in Sutton Mountain, is actually Camden's book, which is like his best friend and her boss, the art gallery owner.
Oh, got it.
So
because I felt like I got hints that maybe we would see her friends again. Because I was like,
everyone wanted Emma. Yeah, everyone wanted, Winnie and Emma are her two best friends.
Hinted that Winnie was like seeing someone on the side, but she didn't want to say anything. And I was like, are we gonna see more of that?
I mean, I'm gonna say that Beck and Margot go to Sutton Mountain a lot, and it's already been announced that Camden will be in Sutton Mountain. He is with Pippa, which is a character from Rewrite Our Story. Everyone thought that him and Emma were gonna be together, and I was like, guys, they would unalive each other, like not in the sexual tension kind of way, like in a like they literally would, like there's just no way. Like I was like, I'm sorry, I want a people please so bad, but like I can't make a love story work for them because in my head they're like brother and sister, like like you know, like bickering all the time, but not like a sexual attraction kind of bicker, like you're actually like driving me nuts kind of bickering. But he is with Pippa, who is a character from Rewrite, and I mean they are enemies to lovers, so they definitely are bickering, but their bickering is like we're gonna bicker and then we're gonna like, you know, fuck.
I loved his conversation with Margot. Like,
I'm ready for you to rewrite because he actually pops up and rewrite, and some of the things that come out of his mouth, like you're gonna die. Like you're gonna like, oh my God, they're so good. His more like quips are so fun.
I can't wait. It's on my TBR. So I'll let you know when I get around to it. I love the cover art for that one as well.
Thanks.
It's beautiful. Who does your cover art?
Ashes and Valacor. Her name's Ashley. She was live in Seattle. But yeah, she said
she was right in front of her. Remember? You were saying bye to her when she was standing there.
Sorry, Aaron's popping in. Apparently she was right in front of you in line.
Me?
Yeah.
Man.
Because I remember Aaron being like, okay, you need to stop talking. But
no, it's fine. I have no problem waiting because obviously like you have lines of people who are like waiting, and it's nice to let everyone have their moment. And a lot of these people know each other too. People go to like tons of signings a year, and they'll see like the same authors. And
a lot of people I saw like that had gone to Denver, because I had been in Denver the month before, that were also Seattle, and I'm like, you guys are just like coming all over.
There's a little spider on my camera, and I was like, don't freak out. Just gonna blow it away.
Oh my god, no. You kept your cool cooler than I would keep it.
Dude, today I did not keep my cool. I was reading in bed in this t-shirt, and my hair tickled my neck, and I looked down, and just my eye just tricked me for a sec, and I saw this star and just saw like spider legs, and was just like, but if someone was watching me, it didn't look like I freaked out, but in my head I like froze, and my heart just started racing. And then I was like, okay, it's not a spider, but it still took my heart a minute to like come down. And I was like, you fooled me. I thought I was gonna die for a second.
Yeah, I always kill spiders. My husband's like, you really don't want to do that. I was like, I really do, because I'm gonna sit here and think about where it's crawling if I kill it. If I don't kill it.
I normally would. That one was so tiny that honestly, I'd rather just blow it away than not touch it. But if it's really visible, if it's on the ceiling, and my husband is such a caveman that he won't kill spiders. It's so weird. He's like Tarzan. We're like, oh, life is precious, and he just like he'll literally grab it with his hand and just let it outside from his palm. And I'm like, you just grab that spider? No.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Aaron like grabbed with his hand, but he'll get like the piece of paper and like coax it outside. I'm like, no, that guy's it's dead. If it's in our house, it's dead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, outside, I'll admire you and be like, build your web. That's cool. That's your home. My home is not your home.
I don't share.
No, absolutely not. So how has Rewrite Your Story? It seems like it's been doing fantastic.
Yeah, again, it's been a while, a few months. It's February. I'm pretty sure last time I checked that Black Ties and Rewrite were like sitting right next to each other in the top 100, which is just like wild. They've just been like chilling next to one another, which is like so mind-boggling to me, because like I had never before Black Ties even hit the top 100, and so now to see like two right next to one another, I'm like, what is happening? Like I still just like can't get my mind wrapped around it. Like I feel like almost like an imposter. I'm like, those aren't my books. Like
you feel kind of like you're living the dream a little bit, like could you imagine like 2 or 3 years ago that you would be able to be a full-time writer at this point?
Well, I mean, I just like when I quit, I was like, I just want to make what a teacher makes. You know what I mean? So I just want to be able to like do something. I want to be able to like pay for, you know what I mean, editor, photographer, designer. Like I just want to be able to like cover all of that, and then like chip in some other stuff to help pay our bills and stuff like that. And now it's just like wild. It's just wild.
I know. I say I'm kind of like at a point in my career personally where I'm basically a full-time stay-at-home mom who does hair sometimes on the side, where it's like at the end of the year, it's like comical how much I make. It's like, because I work 2 days a week, and even those 2 days, I don't have childcare for like the full days. And so I'll usually work from like 11 to 5, maybe 6:30. And so it's just, I totally get that being like, I just want to do something that I love.
Right.
But I'm okay if I'm not like, it'd be fun if I was bringing in bank, but it's fine if I don't, because, you know, at least us personally, we were in a place where my husband is able to cover all the important stuff. But I never want to quit doing hair because it's just like my passion. I love it so much.
Well, I'm glad that you get to kind of like mix that with book stuff, like when I need something to hair and stuff like that. That's fun
to bring to Book Bonanza. I'm like so excited, because as soon as we left, my husband was like, you should have business cards for this kind of stuff. He was literally, while we were in line for Laura Pavlov, was like looking up business card websites.
I love that. Oh my god, Laura's line. I adore her. She's like my favorite human on this planet.
You know who I didn't get to meet? Catherine Cowles. I was so sad. Her line was... I don't know. Oh, she is. She's going to Book Bonanza.
See, I thought she was. So hopefully, since that's like 2 days, you'll be able to.
Oh yeah, I'll at least be able to see her for sure. I even reached out to her about hair, but she has some other arrangements happening. I even like full stop. I tried to shoot my shot with Colleen Hoover. I like emailed her and like she isn't her, but whoever runs her emailed me back like lickety split. I was surprised because I know she's like a busy woman. I think they got back to me in like 2 hours.
Wow.
And was like, hey, we're gonna forward this information to the people who are coordinating the event. And I think that for that event, at least for some of the authors, they were having like
yeah, there's like a sign up.
It was like a hairstyling party bus or something like that.
Yeah, there's like a sign up for like hair and makeup and all this stuff. But
yeah, and I was like, totally get that. So smart.
Yeah.
Thanks for getting back to me so much.
I'm excited for you. My hair. I wanted someone to do my makeup, but I didn't really. They have those, but I was like, no.
Yeah. My friend Sarah, she's gonna be at Readers Take Denver next year. I think we're all planning on going. We're gonna bring the hubs with us and everything. But she does makeup. Really? So if you're gonna be at Readers Take Denver next year, I'll be there. She'll be there.
Hey.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll have like a similar sort of arrangement with anyone else, but
I think I went this year and I don't know if I remember them having that, but I mean, things have been wild, so like, I love a same.
Was this year the first year that Readers Take Denver was that extravagant, or is it always like that?
That was the first year it ever existed.
Really? Because I thought I don't remember hearing about people going the year before, which is like kind of around the time where I started Book Talk. I was only in it for a few months.
Yeah.
I never remember people talking about Readers Take Denver.
That was the first year. This year was the first year that Readers
They really went balls to the walls for the first year.
They sure did.
Wow. Yeah. And they already have like next year basically planned.
Yeah.
Like the week after they set up their offers.
Yeah. And it was
like that many people are committed to going next year. That's insane.
That's what's so hard about signings is they ask authors like literally a year in advance and you're like, it's so hard to like coordinate everything.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're overcommitted for this year or do you feel good about it?
No, I only did Readers Take Denver, Seattle, and well, I guess Book Bonanza and Vegas. So I guess I do have 4 this year.
Yeah. I'm like on the fence about Vegas because currently I don't have a ticket or anything, but I'm gonna see if I can like hook some people, see if maybe it'll be worth it for me to go to Vegas. Yeah. But that's also another trip where my husband would love to go, but realistically, like when we're going to Italy the first week of November, like November 1st, we go to Italy, and we would basically be coming home from that trip like 2 days before we would leave for that. But we're leaving from Seattle, so we already have to drive a day early up to Seattle to drop our kids off with some family. So we would basically be coming home the next day, driving to Seattle, and then the day after that, flying to Italy. So, yeah, he is like gung-ho, like we should do it. But I think we'll just have to see on whether we can afford it.
Yeah.
Because we're going to Italy.
Yeah. I have never been to Vegas, but I heard Vegas is like a party. Like that signing is so much fun. So I'm excited. I
have not been, not just to Love in Vegas, I haven't been to Vegas at all since being an adult. Last time I was there, I was like 16, and I was with my parents and my sister. So we weren't like, we were there for an afternoon. We had like lunch and walked the strip, and that was it.
Yeah, I've never been. My husband hasn't either, and he's coming, so we're both very excited to do.
So exciting.
Yeah. And then as far as next year, I've only announced Wild and Windy, which I am excited about that. I've never been to Chicago.
Oh, yeah. Were you at Wild and Windy this year? No, you weren't.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
no.
It just happened, right?
Right. Like, I think 2 weekends ago, maybe? But
I feel like they were just happening back to back. It was like Wild and Windy was happening at the same time as a Polycon, right? Did they overlap a little bit, or were they a week apart?
they're a week apart, but like that's the thing. Like, it was like Readers Take Denver, and then it was I think a Polycon, and then Wild and Windy, and then Love in Seattle. No, a
Love in Seattle.
Polycon, Love in Seattle.
No,
Maybe
Love in
Bryce
Seattle was after a Polycon.
Okay, so
No,
Polycon
before
So
Polycon.
Love in Seattle, a Polycon, Wild and Windy, and then there's like Book Bonanza. Like it's like they're so
They're
close.
so stacked. And then there's also that signing happening in Italy.
Rare.
Is that rare? I follow Tilly Cole because I'm obsessed with her. And she's gonna be there.
Yeah, there's like Rare and Babe. Because there's one like New Zealand soon too.
Is there?
Yeah. There's so many. There's a lot. That's why it's hard to come out there, especially.
There was the one in Melbourne, Australia. What was that one?
Yes, that
I
maybe
saw
that's
like
Rare.
Daddy Ronan, like the model, the daddy model for for Sarah Kate. He was in Melbourne.
There was a lot of them. He was at Readers Take Denver. Sarah Kate was right next to me. Her table was right next to mine, and you could smell that man. He smelled so good. Like I don't know what cologne he's using, but it's working. Like it, like it literally filled a room.
Embarrassing thing that happened. I was on live with Sarah Kate after that event, and I didn't do my research. I just remember looking at his Instagram and seeing a flag in his bio and saying like, oh my gosh, he's German. You know who's also German? My husband. And so I literally would like have these stupid fantasies about going there and like seeing like my husband and him like speak German to each other and like how hot I think that would be. And then Sarah Kate was like, I hate to burst your bubble. He's from Brazil. He's not German at all. And I was like, I could have sworn. And when I went to his Instagram, it was just like one of his like modeling agencies, I think is German based. So that's why there was the flag next to like the modeling agency. And I was like, oh man. It was like zero research. I had 100% get out of here.
He's back.
He's like so little too. I'd like feel bad crushing him. But yeah, I was like, well, fantasy crushed. He cannot speak German with my husband.
It's okay. In your head, you still can. You just like imagine that.
I'll pretend it's fictional anyway.
Yeah.
I love that so much. I feel like I had another. This man's your 5 chapters of smut. Was that planned or did it just come naturally? Were you like, I want to just have like back-to-back multiple POV chapters of like, because this was the ultimate like one room at the inn trope.
I mean, I knew that I wanted to make this book spicy just because, like, I've always loved reading spicy books, but it's, like, different when, like, you're releasing it and, like, to tell people, like, you wrote that, they know that you wrote it, things like that. It's like, I hadn't really ever, like, fully, like, I have spicy books, don't get me wrong, but, like, this one was, like, a full sin. I was like, I want to write whatever I want to write, like, no matter how spicy it is, no matter how dirty it is, like, their story is their story.
Yeah.
And so, like, I knew that it was probably gonna be, like, 3. Like, I knew that I wanted to be, like, each of theirs and then, like, probably, like, one more of somebody else's. And then it just, like, kept going. And then I was like, oh, damn. Like, so, no, it wasn't planned. Like, I knew I wanted it to be, like girthy, but, like, I didn't know it was gonna be, like, that girthy.
Yeah. No, it was good. And then I don't want to say I was worried, but I thought, oh, that's probably, like, the climax, right? Where it's probably gonna be a lot less spice throughout. But no, like after that, you really like it still had plot. Like it wasn't all about spice, but I felt like you still kept their spicy moments going, like all throughout the end.
Thanks. I tried.
Do you feel like that like writing smut comes naturally to you, or does it like is it comfortable?
I mean, I feel like sometimes I definitely like am blushing while writing. There was a scene in Rewrite Our Story that I remember like being like so red in the face. I was like, oh my god, like people are gonna read this. So like I definitely like feel like I don't know, like blush and stuff like that, but I'm not like I have the time of my life writing Spice. Like, I love when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, I gotta write Spice today. Like, it's like the best day ever when I know like that's what I get to do like all day long. 'Cause a lot of times, like, if it's a few chapters, like that's my day is just writing that. So,
Your husband read all your stuff?
mm-hmm.
What
He
does he
sure
think?
does.
Is he like, damn, babe?
Yeah, I will never forget the first time he ever read like something really spicy of mine, and he had been in the bathtub because I think he had like an injury or something at the time, so he was like taking like frequent baths, and so in the bath he'd like read, and I remember him like coming and like the sorry,
Maybe he did.
I'm sorry. I should be able to say that with a straight face. I remember being in the office and him like walking toward me, and I'm pretty sure like he was just in a towel or just his underwear, and he was like, "Babe, where did you learn this?" Like he was just like, "What? No, it was who are you? Not where did you learn this?" He goes, "Who are you?" Sorry.
I love that so much.
Yeah. So yeah, he'll read. I'll get texts from him, and it'll just be like sex question mark. And I'm like, I know what part of the book you're at. Like, so yeah, he does read them.
What was it? Our anniversary? No, not our anniversary. I think it was for Valentine's Day. Sorry, that was confused because my husband's birthday is like the 16th and Valentine's Day is on the 14th.
14.
So
Yeah.
we were going away for his birthday, but he gave me a Valentine's Day gift, even though we were on his birthday trip, where he wrote a smutty short story about us, and he made me read it while he ate me out.
Oh my god, that's like in a book. That needs to go in a book immediately.
I was like,
that is amazing.
That's crazy.
He is a king. I mean, the blazer and the story, like
sometimes we'll just like be in bed together and he'll like just start filling me up and I'll be like, I'm reading. And he'll be like, you can keep reading. That's fine.
Keep reading. I love that.
And it never works out. I never keep reading.
Yeah, well. Oh my god, I love that. Like he's literally like the book husband. Like when everyone like writes a book boyfriend, you can be like, yeah, that's mine. Like
I think that's actually why I love reading romance so much, because he just makes me feel all of those emotions. Not for everybody. And I hate that this is the reality for some people, but some people just don't have that. Whether they're married or single or whatever. Like, and so they read it to feel those things that they don't have in their own life as escapism. Yeah. And for me, I love reading it because it like evokes and like brings up those emotions that he's always made me feel, and I just love feeling that constantly through these books.
Yeah, I get that so much. I love that.
Yeah. Wait, how did you and your husband meet?
Well, I was still in high school. He had graduated by that point, but my best friend had a sister who was like one of his best friends. Like we all kind of like always like were in like the same friend group. Yeah. So he was my only boyfriend, my first boyfriend,
Oh, I love that. First love.
Yep. Well, he had a serious girlfriend before me because he was a little bit older. But I'm not anything like. I mean, it's cute. I like it, but it's not some like crazy story. Just obviously we partied together.
My husband, he was like a semi-hoe, and so he dated around a lot. But we've known each other and have been like best friends since 6th grade. So like we've known each other a long time, but we didn't date until I was like 19, almost 20. And I had only had one serious boyfriend in that time span before him, that I started dating when I was 15, and we dated for like 4 years until we broke up, and me and him got together maybe like 3 weeks after I broke up with that dude. And he, at the time when I had broken up with him, he was dating a girl long distance who was living in Florida. And as soon as he heard that I broke up with him, he was like, maybe this isn't working out.
Oh, that's really cute. I love that.
But yeah, it was so crazy. And it was one of those dumb situations too, where even while I was dating this guy, he was always my best friend. And I started dating this guy because I lived in Texas for 2 years in high school, and he lived in Texas.
Okay.
So then we dated for about 10 months before I moved back to Oregon. And then he was in the middle of his senior year. So he finished up his senior year before he moved here and started just like going to school and working here because we were very committed. And that was like right. I had like just graduated beauty school and was like starting my career and all that stuff. Stay on track with the story, Cassandra. Your tangent life stories are not important.
I love it. No, this is me. Like I
But where was I going with that though? I lost the train track. So, okay. I was dating that guy, moved to Portland. Yeah, we were together for a few years, and I thought this is gonna be so great. We're gonna move to, or he's gonna move to Portland. We're gonna be together, and he'll get to meet Chris. They're gonna be best friends. My best friend and my boyfriend, we can all hang out. It's gonna be so good. They hated each other.
You literally have like the best friend. Like you have the best friend trope. Like the friends to lovers trope. And when the guy's all like,
at the time I was so ignorant to it. I was like,
yeah.
there's nothing. Like I've known him since I was 12. If something was gonna happen, it would have happened by now.
Right.
You
I
know?
feel that.
Like
Yeah.
he's dating other people, but he would like spend the night at my house on the weekends. Like it was that kind of a friendship.
No.
Where I look back and go, like, how did nothing untoward like ever
Yeah.
like it just never happened between us. I had an older brother growing up, so
Maybe that's
his
why.
mom would let him sleep over and he would sleep in my brother's room, but like at night he would get in my room and play with my hair till I fell asleep. And then he would just like leave sweetly, like nothing inappropriate ever happened until we started dating. And I'm like, I don't know.
I feel like he was in love with you the whole time.
Yeah, that's what he says, but I don't think he was fully like aware of it the whole time. You know?
He was gone.
But I love telling people our life story, so sometimes people who are like familiar with me going live, like they've heard me tell this to people before, so I'll never stop telling people who don't know it though, because I think it's adorable.
I love that so much. I want to like put that into a book now, like everything.
Yes, I have thought about, I would love to read a book about us. I am just not talented at writing. It's not a skill that I've acquired yet, and I think I'm worried about trying my hand at writing and having my first try be our story, because it's the one that I really want to get right, and everyone tells me that your first story is probably going to be shitty, so I'm like, maybe I should try with something else, get practice.
For sure, you should like do like one or two and then like dive into that, because I'm committed. Like, I have to exist.
Their love story, it's redonkulous. Like my mom grew up like small town Missouri and then moved to LA in middle school. My dad he's like Mexican and Ecuadorian and grew up all around the world going to private schools in like Saudi Arabia and London and like France and all this crazy stuff. Grew up like hella bilingual and somehow ended up settling in Los Angeles in like his freshman year of high school with his brother. He was like a rugby player. And so he ended up playing football for my mom's rival school. She was going to, where was she? I think she was Burbank and he was Glendale. But so he was like football player and she was a cheerleader. Like rival team.
Literally another trope in itself.
Like totally, like their whole love story is like riddled with tropes. And so they met at like a beach party that like all their friends were having, and it was like his brother was friends with my mom's sister and a bunch of her friends, and he showed up to a party and they were like, oh, Manny's here. And then he brought his younger brother. No one even knew he had a brother because he's like, oh, everyone thinks he's so cool. I just never tell anyone that I have a brother because then they want to be his friend and not mine.
Oh my god.
And so he just like shows up and everyone's like these two hot Latin high school kids who are just like ripped from playing football, stealing all the attention. And then he just like started hanging out at my mom's house like all the time. She had all these siblings and they started dating. Accidental pregnancy in her senior year. Like, it was insanity. Like everything about their story I'm just obsessed with.
There's so many tropes in that. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Maybe you could write that one as like the second one. So just write something random for the first, and you can write your parents' love story, then your love story.
Yeah, and be like a second gen.
Yeah, there you go. tropey AF though. Like those are filled with tropes.
I know, tropes have to come from somewhere. But yeah, I love it so much. That's also another thing that I'm worried if I were to try, I just like wouldn't be able to do it justice because to a certain point you want to dramatize it, right? Because it's a book. You only have so many pages, and I don't want the dramatization to feel like disrespectful to the reality, like all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I can see that.
But maybe one day. I always tell myself, I'm like, maybe one day. My sister, you're gonna think this is super cute. My sister is a photographer, but she's also a graphics designer. And for Christmas, she actually made me a book cover for the book of me and my husband. And it's so cute because she actually drew us, because we met when we were kids, and he was like a tree climber and was always shirtless.
Oh,
and so she drew us in the tree, and then us like older snuggling on the other side of the tree.
Stop it right now.
And all of my sisters, they wrote like blurbs, like reviews for this book that isn't even real yet. Like there is this book. This is on the cover or she just made me a cover, and it's covering a different book called The Warlord by Jenna Showalter. But I just like, it's so cute. And she wrote a little like synopsis for the book that's like our love story, and then an author bio for me with my profile.
Stop it right now.
So cute. I cried. I'm like, your Christmas present? You made me a book cover
I've ever seen. She gave it like such a good title and everything.
Yes, I know. And she even wrote Romance and Rosé Presents.
Oh my god, that is so thoughtful.
I love her so much. And she also, this past Christmas, made like personalized coloring books for all the nieces and nephews in the family. It's just like, she's so talented. I'm in awe.
So sweet. I love her, and I don't know her, but I love her.
You know, surprisingly, we're very similar people. She is just like the short version of me. She's like 4'8". And I'm 5'4". So she's tiny, and she's got like pink hair, but whenever we're in the same room and people hear us talk, we like sound the same. A lot of our facial features are very similar. Do you have siblings?
Is she younger or older than you?
She's younger. There's a 5-year gap between us.
Okay. And then you have an older brother, you said too, right?
Yes, an older brother, and then we have another sister who my parents adopted in like adulthood. So like she's the ginger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. You told me that.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that.
Me too. I have a big family, and we're all very close.
I love that. I was an only child, so I keep telling my husband, I was like, maybe we should have a third, so they have like siblings. And
some people really like Elsie. She was saying how she grew up as an only child, and she really enjoyed it, and so they just have the one.
Yep. I grew up with a single mom too. So like I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. She worked a lot and stuff like that, which like she had to. You know what I mean? She was a single mom, but I always knew that I would love to have at least two. And I thought I'd be done if I had a boy and a girl, but now I'm just like I could see myself wanting one more in like 2 years. But
yeah,
it is like no.
See, when we were kids, my husband wanted like 10 kids.
Yeah.
He's like, I would just love a huge family.
Right.
Then after having them and pregnancy, I don't wear it well.
I don't either.
It's like I just am sick the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like bedridden. It's horrible. Like I can do nothing for all 9 months. It's terrible.
Yeah. With Dory, I threw up every single day, like all day. Like even like the morning that we went to, like I had a C-section with her, with both my kids. And, like even that morning that like I was going in for a C-section, I threw up. It was just like, so I feel like that's part of his thing. He's like, you don't function. He's like, you have a job where you have to function. Like you don't function. Yeah. So
I don't know how I did it. Like with both pregnancies, there came to a point around like the 7.5 month mark where I like collapsed at work and had to be like taken to the hospital.
I mean, you're on your feet all day long. Like
yeah, and I think my body had a hard time. Like my salt levels were always off, and my potassium. So retaining water. Like, it just wasn't happening. So it felt like it didn't matter how much water I was drinking, I just could never be hydrated enough. And so I was just like always passing out. And then they'd be like, oh, you're dehydrated. You just need like IV fluids. I'm like, well, I feel like I've been drinking like a camel all day. So what's the problem? What can I do?
Yeah, they
nothing. The baby's fine.
No. Well, that's what my doctor was like. They're parasites. Like, they'll take everything from you. Like, they're fine. You just won't be fine. Because they put me on IVs with Story. But the problem is they put you to a clinic that's like 8 to 4. And at that time I was still teaching. And it was Monday through Friday. And I'm like, guys, like, I don't know when you want me to do this. Like, I have a job. And I taught. I was like, I can't, like, get time off to, like, go get an IV. Like, it was terrible. So. Pregnancy, like, with the people that love it, I'm like, I'm so happy for you. Like, I wish I loved it.
Like, I have a cousin who, she loves being pregnant so much that she just does, like, surrogacy.
Really?
She's just like, yeah, it's just the best. I just enjoy it so much, and I'm like,
yeah,
it takes a special person. Couldn't be me.
Okay, one of our best friends, she's only had one, but she, like, loved every second. Like, I'm pretty sure the day before, so she had a scheduled induction. So she didn't have a C-section, but, like, she was induced, and I think she went in at, like, 6 p.m. that night. And she was like, I really wanted to, like, run that morning. Like, she ran, like, 5 miles a day, like, all the way through her pregnancy. And she was like, I wanted to run, like, the morning I knew I was going to have Elise, but, like, she's like, I know I might be tired from labor, so, like, I didn't run. But I'm like, meanwhile,
like, girl in our CrossFit class who was like that. I didn't realize how pregnant she was because she was just so ripped. She had like this little bump that still looked like it had pectorals beneath it. And then she was gone for like 2 weeks. And then there was like this barbecue in the summer, and she just showed up with her newborn baby. And I'm like,
you're like, oh, you were that pregnant. That's, man.
You were at CrossFit 2 weeks ago.
Some people, like, they're just, I don't know how they do it.
No, that seems ill-advised to me, but
they say that, like, if you are ready, like, you can maintain the same activity level you had before pregnancy. You just can't, like, become more active.
Yeah. I remember my husband starting CrossFit when I had just found out I was pregnant with my daughter, and he was like, I think you would really like it. We should try it. And I'm like, I'm not setting foot in a gym until after this baby comes out of me and I'm healed up. Like, it's just not happening. I'm sorry. I can barely get up to make breakfast for the one child we do have. I'm not making it to the gym. It's not.
I'm not making it. You alone. I'll stay home.
And he was very understanding. And even after, like, I'm not a huge, I just don't usually love that type of working out. I love a body class. I love, like, yoga, fine. But hardcore, like, weightlifting, it's just not usually my bag. And so I said, I will give you 3 months. I'll give you 3 months. And if I hate it after 3 months of going consistently, you have to let me quit and not give me shit about it. And he's like, deal. And I ended up really enjoying it. I just really liked it. I did it for, like, I don't know, maybe 15 months before we just, like, wanted to save some money because it's expensive.
I'm sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, man.
I love that. Yeah, I wish I had easy pregnancies because I feel like that would maybe convince my husband for a third. But he's like, you hate being pregnant, you complain the whole time, you don't function, and then I have to have C-section. So.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, like, obviously, like, hard to recover from, so.
Yeah.
A third one does not seem likely for me, but, man, I just love one. I just feel like my kids were so close together. That was Story. Like, I didn't soak up her being, like, a newborn the way that I should have. Now I'm like, I just want a little freshie. Like, I just want, the newborn snuggles. Like, my kids are really easy babies, too, which is a part of my also, like, I was like, man, I feel like eventually, like, something's got to give. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a third would not be an easy baby. And
I have a question. And this may be a little TMI, so you don't have to go into detail if you want to. But when you have a C-section, how is, like, the healing process as far as, like, how much you bleed or, like vaginally? Like, what is...
You still bleed all of that because you still have to shed all of your I mean, like all of the extra blood and lining and everything that you had. So
And
I
how
will
is that
say,
harder because you're not like as open as you would be if you had like a vaginal birth, or is it the same? Like,
so they still like come in there and like push on your stomach and everything like that. So they still like,
worse. I hate that so much. Some of it I almost felt like was worse than labor because you feel like you're done and you're just like you're not hyped anymore from the labor, and they come in and they
you don't have
squish
the
your stomach and
adrenaline.
you just want to punch them in the face.
Yeah, and some are very rough with it. Like I feel like some were like kind of nice, but like depending on your nurse. I will say with my son, so he was like an emergency C-section, and like I almost bled out with him. So I think a lot of my like it was. I'm shocked that we ended up having a second. Like we were both traumatized. Like the doctor I had was like inside me yelling at. Granted, this is over 32 hours of labor. So like I had already like done all of this. Like we're exhausted. I haven't slept. I hadn't had any kind of surgery, so I never had morphine or anything. So I'm like convulsing on the table because I didn't know that you get the shakes from it. Didn't know it also made me nauseous. I'm like trying to throw up, but I haven't been able to eat anything. And I was just not in a good spot. My husband, who was normally like not queasy, not anything, is about to like faint because like I'm just in such bad shape. Like I have no idea where I'm at. And so like, I just remember like laying there shaking so bad that they like had to strap my arms down, which is like terrifying. Like when they put you on a table and you're awake, but they're like literally strapping you in. Like you're like, you see like movies where they're like in prison and they're like strapping them to hospital bed?
Yes, where they're like, get her to the psych ward.
Yeah,
No,
like on a table. And then all of a
that's so
sudden,
traumatizing. I'm so sorry
it's
you went through
not
that.
my doctor because it's the middle of the night. It's like my doctor was supposed to be there the day before because that's when I was supposed to have the baby. So all of a sudden they opened me up, whatever, which like I didn't know all the things that happen in a C-section, which like I was unprepared. So they like
your insides.
they like jerk you like, oh, you're gonna feel some like pressure, and like you're like they like literally like pull that yank the baby out, okay, like yank. It is not like your whole body's moving. So they take my son and like everything's fine with him, like they're like, oh, like look at him, like blah blah blah.
And you're like, I can't look at him, I'm strapped down. Like
they like put him over the curtain, and then you have like a screen above you that like shows them like cleaning him off and everything. But then all of a sudden the doctor just starts yelling at her assistant, and apparently I think this is like the girl was new, and she's like, you have to be quicker, like I can't see anything. And the assistant, like I like remember seeing through the curtain, like is holding these like there's rags of blood just like dripping, and she's like, I have nowhere else to put these, like where the thing that they were putting them was like full of like, where they've already like tried. And the doctor's like, she's bleeding out, it's getting murky in here, like I can't see, you have to. And I remember like my husband and I looking at one another, and I'm like, am I like, is this it? And like they're trying to give my husband our newborn son, but he's too
and he's just like looking at this happening to you.
Yeah, so ended up like obviously everything was fine, but then my wound didn't heal. So I went to a wound clinic up until I was 16 weeks postpartum. I had to go twice a week where like my wound was like open, like could see down, like it was terrible because they said they think that they were trying to close it too quick because my uterus wouldn't close back down. I'd been in labor so long that like it couldn't contract. It was too exhausted. So like it was just like an open wound, which I didn't know, just like continuously.
I'm so sorry for
bleeding. So I did bleed after my son, but it was not near the amount that I did with my daughter, who just like, we showed up at 6 a.m. She was not ready. Like, my son was so exhausted and so sleepy in the hospital. And we were like, oh, this is newborns. Like, he just like slept the whole time, slept and ate. Like, oh, like they're so sleepy. No, it turns out I think he's exhausted from labor as well. And so when we had my daughter, who didn't go through labor, she just got pulled right out, wide awake. Like, as soon as they pulled her out, she's like, okay, let's party. Like, she just cried and like was so awake. And so with her, I definitely feel like things like I, had a lot more after bleeding, just because I didn't bleed it all out. It was a normal C-section. So yeah, it's crazy how much like you forget, and like I feel like how much like, your body like wants you to reproduce, you know what I mean? Because like we had, we switched our okay, and we're having only the one. Like, that was terrible. Like, and he was
after an experience like that too, like
it was terrifying. Like I told my OB, like my normal OB, I was like, I could never look at that woman again because she was just like yelling at this assistant. Like it's the middle of the night, it's 1 a.m. and she's just like screaming at this girl. And like I get it, like if the girl wasn't cleaning things up fast enough, like, you know, I feel her, but just like I feel like the bedside manner. But like you have two people in there, you have no idea what you're talking about, and you're just like yelling, she's bleeding out, like be faster. Like it's just not, you know, like it's just
that's
scary.
one thing I'm grateful for is although my pregnancies were always a shit show, the births normally went pretty smooth. Brandy asked how many hours were our labors. Okay, well, with my son, I was having contractions that were ranging between like 4 and 10 minutes apart for like 3 days. But active labor was probably similar. It was like maybe like 29 hours. It was like I was at the birthing center for like a full day. And that one was really hard. And I did a natural water birth with both my kids. And I think with the first one, the water is probably a huge reason why the labor lasted a little bit longer, because I just loved because it took the pressure off my body. But I think to a certain extent, you need a little bit of pressure for like, and my water just wasn't breaking with him, but we didn't know that it wasn't really broken yet. So all of a sudden, I'm like, I can't stand this any longer. What can I do? I'm in the water. And she's like, well, if you feel like you want to maybe help it along a little bit faster, this baby's coming out of you one way or another, but we could get out the birthing stool, which is like this torture device made of PVC pipe where you like hang your legs over the sides of it and you're like squatting over it. And when I got on that, the midwife's assistant realized, oh, you know what's happening is her water hasn't broken yet, and she has a cervical lip. So every time she has a contraction, his head is trying to come down, and then as soon as the contraction ends, it sucks him back in. Like the cervical lip pushes him back up. So she literally had to like hook her fingers inside me and hold down my cervical lip while I was having contractions until my water broke. And then my legs were so shaky from being on that for what felt like a year. Felt like I was on it for forever. And I was like, is it too late to get back in the tub? Can I just do that? And she's like, well, my midwife was exactly what I needed, but very hands off, and was kind of like, just do what your body's telling you to. Yeah. And so I got in the water barely. Like I put one leg into the tub and felt like a head. And I was like, no. I was like just trying to get my like second leg in the tub before he like fell out. And I think I pushed one time like on all fours in the tub before he came out. And so with my second, they were like, hey, just so you know, the second birth is usually always faster. So I expected, you know what will be probably, I'll just budget for about half the time. That'll be fine. I felt like I was in labor with him for so long, but half the time still seemed like a decent amount of time. So I had my very first contraction with her at like 5 a.m., maybe almost 6 actually. And I texted my midwife. She said, okay, well, I'll head into the birthing center and I'll get the tub ready for you. Why don't you just come in whenever you're ready? And I was having contractions, but I felt like we're going to be there all day anyway. I told my husband, because he gets really antsy, I'm like, why don't you do a little workout in the living room so that like you're not feeling pent up when we get there. So like he was doing workout in the living room. I was literally like curling my hair in between contractions, like making sure I look fresh for pictures or what the fuck. And I get there around a little before 10. She was born like a half hour later. Like she like cannonballed out of my body. I thought that I just like had to poop or something like that, because with my son, I felt like my body had just expelled everything before he came out. And I'm like, oh yeah, I just like have so much pressure. I just have to poop. And I'm on the toilet and my mom's like, I think you're pushing. Like, I think this baby's coming out. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just like, and then she tells the midwife and they come in and they're like, we see the head, get in the tub. This is impossible. It's not time yet. We've only been here like 20 minutes.
Really, I think Decker got stuck. I got told I have a very heart-shaped pelvis, so it was very hard. My doctor was like, "You're very good at like getting pregnant. You're not good at getting them out." And I was like, "Okay, well,
Thank
so
you
no,
for that.
poor Decker. I mean, he tried. He really tried coming out, poor guy, but he could not." So it is wild though, because I remember like people saying like, because I watched all the videos on how to do like a vaginal birth, because I like no point in my mind did I ever think I could do a C-section. I didn't know anyone that had ever done a C-section. I was like, there's just no way. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no real like how to. Like your body's just gonna do what it's gonna do.
Right.
You don't have control.
When I was like a scheduled induction, but like I was 40 weeks and like 5 days or something like that with him. So like I wasn't like, obviously like it was induced, but my body clearly wasn't ready. I shouldn't have done it because I was like 0, like, which I don't know if my body ever would have been ready anyway. But I had the contractions that were like on top of one another, just like all the way on top of each other. And then there'd be like nothing for 30 minutes. And then there'd be like all on top of each other, and then like nothing. But they broke my water. And I watch all these videos. They're like, sometimes you don't even know that your water's broken. Like, it just feels like you're like really always peeing your pants. So I was expecting that. No. I mean, just like gushes. Like literally what you see in movies. Just like gushes and gushes of gushes. Like anytime I would like walk or laugh. I remember at one point I'm like bouncing on this ball, crying, laughing at myself with my husband because like it's just like gushing. And they have puppy pads all over this hotel room. It's like I wanted to walk around. And I was like, oh my God, like this is not what people like. This is like not cute. There's just water everywhere. So the kid had a whole fucking pool in the bed in his room, I guess.
That's crazy.
So, and then with Story, they were like, my pregnancies were too close together that like I was not a candidate for trying VBAC. Like, like safely, just because my wound had only been closed for like a year at that point. No, I still have some things. But I will say the second C-section was like a spa visit. Like literally just like get there. We get there like 7 a.m. They're like, oh, you were supposed to be here at 5. So all 10 nurses like trying to get us checked in because I didn't know. They called and told me to be there by 7, so that's what time we were. But like apparently they wanted us there sooner to like fill out all the paperwork. But then she was born by like 8. And recovery is still not easy, but it's totally different when you're not recovering from like going through labor. And
yeah, how was the healing process with your second C-section? Was it a lot better? Like, did the wound close better?
Yeah, wound closed totally fine. It's what's wild about like scheduled C-sections is you have like 2 OBs in there. You have like more, like, you know, 2 more doctors. I think there was like two extra nurses. I'm like, why are like, and I guess like my emergency was in the middle of the night. But I'm like, I feel like there was like nobody in the OR for my son who was like an emergency. Like I feel like a little bit scarier situation. I remember with my daughter, they were talking about their like kids summer plans. I was like, it's so nice just having them like have a conversation like what summer camps their kids are going to instead of like yelling like it's murky in here, there's too
like
much
what
blood.
a different experience.
Yeah, and I was like totally awake and like I knew obviously that like I got nauseous and like I would throw up. So like I had not just the anesthesiologist, but there was like 2 nurses that like were anesthesiology nurses. And so like they were both like right next to my head and they're like, you just tell us if you get any kind of nauseous. And so like I would just like tap them and then they would just like give me a little bit more. And I'm like, this is so nice. Like,
I love that.
I will say that I had thought like pain wise, I thought my son would be way worse because again, like I was in labor for 32 hours. So like my body was tired from all those contractions. So I thought for some reason in my head, like I thought that's where all the pain was from. Like once I finally got off like painkillers for my son, and then I had my daughter, and so I was like, oh, like I'm not gonna feel that much pain because you know that was all from labor. No, I remember and my phone was gonna die for a minute. I think I froze.
You want to go on low power mode?
Yeah, I'm gonna plug it in. So I remember like when I first like coming off like the morphine or whatever they give you like for surgery, and they were like, do you want to try and move a little? And I was like, yeah, let's do this. And I remember like standing up and like, oh my God, I got hit by a truck again. And I'm like, what do you, like, why does this hurt so bad? And they're like, like, you just got, like, cut, like, halfway through your body. Like, it's gonna hurt. It's like, oh, okay. Like, so that...
I love swapping birth stories with people. I don't know. I just think it's like, I love hearing, because everyone's experience is different. And that's why, like, I love / hate when someone becomes pregnant and then every woman who's also had a child tries to like tell them advice. Because I'm like, on one hand, I love like knowledge is power and knowing everyone's different experiences is great. But they try to tell it to you like that's what you have to expect. And like everyone's body, I've never heard
No.
like anyone's birth story be identical to someone else's. It's just everyone's different. You have different doctors, you have different hospitals, different partners, different like everything about it.
Yeah.
It's like a thumbprint or a fingerprint. Yeah. Everyone's is different.
Yeah.
One more thing before I forget about I'm drastically switching topics, but Black Ties and White Lies, the conflict at the end. Can we talk about how I would not be mad? I'd be so flattered. I'd be like, I just found out that not only did you see me first, but as soon as I became single, you literally moved heaven and earth. Like you paid like this company to print an unflattering story about you just so you would have an excuse to make me your fake fiance.
Margot gets a lot of hate because a lot of people think the same thing. They're like, she should not have been mad, blah, 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 blah. So she gets like a lot, like she, I think is my most like disliked female character that I've written because of that. They're like,
really? I don't think she was super dislikable because I think I would have been more frustrated if she had taken like a really long time to get over it. But I felt like she had a few days and then he was on his business trip and then she just like realized how she felt. She just needed some time.
Well, and like I was like, she kind of just needs to like, they need to be away from each other. And like she's still like, she's been lied to before. She has some stuff and like obviously like it's a whole different relationship, but I feel like realistically like you still bring some of that past stuff into like new relationships to where you're like, you know what I mean, you don't want to be lied to, you don't want to like know that everything was kind of like, you know what I mean, fake, and even though it's flattering. So I mean,
are we gonna bring his brother back at all in other stories, or is that like dead and gone?
That is like my most asked question. Well, Camden, it was like my number one. Like everyone wanted Camden to get a book. I don't think I could give him a redemption arc because I feel like any girl like I put with him, like I'm like I just feel like she deserves better. Because like to me, he doesn't have any kind of like tragic backstory that like gives like he's just like a spoiled brat in my mind. Like he's just like super.
I just want to know if he's ever gonna have to own up to his like gambling addictions and like face his dad and like all that stuff.
I mean, never say never. Like I love in my series I wrote like the redemption arc for the villain, so I love doing that, but like he's just one I feel like I need a lot more time to like I guess think about if I ever were to, because like right now I'm just like who like what woman would I give him that's like a happily ever after for her, you know what I mean, like so that's where I get like tripped up.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have much time to read being a full-time writer?
No, not at all. Not at all. Like 2 kids that are so little and like writing. And I thought that once I went like from teaching full time that like I'd write from 8 to 5 and then like that would be it. And like I work more now than I've ever worked in my life. So I just don't, you know what I mean? I work till like 11 o'clock at night and then I go to bed and then
It's hard to have boundaries too, I'm sure, because you work from home and so you do it whenever you can, which is when the kids are asleep and when they're so little still, it's like it's a dubious schedule.
And so much of like I feel like how like I am an author is like so much of my time is on my phone, you know what I mean, like so much of like social media, like I feel like some authors like don't, you know what I mean, they're not on social media a lot and their books just like catch fire and like they don't really have to do anything, whereas like I can like see if I'm not posting, if I'm not engaging and stuff like that, like I can see the trend line go either way. So like I'm tied to my phone so much that like even if I'm, you know, laying in bed, like I'm still working. Like I'm still responding to stuff, I'm still posting stuff. So
I'm like, man, if I got paid hourly for how social, I would be so rich, babe.
Yeah. So no, I really want to read Fourth Wing. Like that is a book like I want to read so good. I have so much FOMO.
Chris and I read that together. We listened to the audiobook and we both gave it 5 stars. Like we can't wait for November.
Oh my god. So that's one. I have not read Elsie Silver yet, which like I want to so bad. I know she's like one of my favorite humans. We had dinner in Denver together and I'm just like, I love you so much and I want to read her books so bad. But that's another one that like I just don't have the time. I've heard her audiobooks are good though, so I did buy her audiobooks. I just haven't.
I mean, I have only read her Chestnut Spring series. I haven't read any of her other stuff. But I would say I really liked Flawless. It was really good. But Heartless, book 2, it like blew Flawless out of the water for me, which is
That's the single dad, right?
I'm not a huge single dad. Like, I like it, but there are some people who like are obsessed with single dads, and for me, I'm just like, okay, cool. Yeah. That was a single dad, maybe my favorite single dad romance. His mouth filthy in all the best ways, and I loved how spunky Willa, is it Willa or Willow? I can't remember in that one. And then Powerless is like a semi-age gap, but like friends to lovers, kind of like hockey, professional ballerina. It was just like so good. And I just this morning, the arc for Reckless hit my Kindle, and I'm like,
everywhere. And I'm like, I want to read this so bad, but I know I want to read them in order. But yeah,
you have to read them in order. Anyone who, I'm like, technically they're standalones, but don't do it the injustice of reading them out of order. You just have to. Hi, Cass.
I want to read that so bad.
Yeah. And that's the thing. There's so many good ones out there, and you have to be like kind to yourself. Because even I tell myself,
me not so lucky.
This, never this, and then I go, you only have so much time. You can't like beat yourself up about the books you don't get around to.
No, Trelina sent me not so lucky, and I was like, I want to drop everything and read that right now, but like I can't. And I'm like,
the way that if I had that in my Kindle right now, I would, no one would see me. I'd be like, I don't exist until this book is finished. I cannot wait. Well, I'm so hoping that I get a copy of it at Book Bonanza.
She's gonna have some.
I know. And I'm doing her hair too, so I'm like, Trelina, if you don't have a copy set aside for me.
Oh my god, we have to all be in the same room. Can we like all get ready?
Yes, I know.
Hang out, have some champagne.
Yes. I still haven't. I'm probably gonna do this like the week before, but I haven't gotten to reach out to everyone about like what the schedule is like. Like, what does everyone have to be ready at the same time? And if so, like, what is everyone's morning routine so that I can like slot people correctly? Because at this point, since it's my first one, and well, because I did Seattle, but I just did Elsie's hair, and so
I loved her hair in Seattle. And now I remember you saying that you did her hair.
Yeah, and she was so sweet. I loved.
She's the sweetest human. I love her.
And my husband, like, he did coffee runs for us and got us like breakfast while I was doing her hair. I was just like, oh, I love him. I'm like, but he's not gonna be with me at Book Bonanza. I'll have no one to get me coffee and breakfast.
Aaron will be there. Aaron will go get you coffee.
Oh, that's sweet.
He's playing a game, but
I love that. Everyone told me, by the way, that because like when we were in the lobby, they're like, oh my gosh, there's so many husbands here. Even Elsie was like, yeah, I was surprised at like how many men I saw. But then Chris and I were at the signing, and I feel like we didn't see that many.
Really?
No. I loved that you had your husband with you, and Lena had her husband with her, and then Laura.
I lost my husband to Laura's husband. Greg and Aaron were like BFFs. Like, I'm like, where, Laura? Like, where are our husbands? And they're just like, like they're going to go to football games together next season. Like they like are like best friends. And I'm like,
I love that.
I know. I'm excited because she's at Book Bonanza and Greg's coming, and so it's the same in Vegas. So
yeah.
And I know a lot of husbands going to Book Bonanza because I know like Trelina's husband's coming. So like, oh, I guess your husband.
You seem so sweet. I haven't met either of them, but whenever I see her feature him on social media, I'm always like,
oh, it's funny because she was supposed to be at Seattle, and she had all my books. Like I took my books to her, and she couldn't go, but like he still had to like grab the books because like her books went to her mom and stuff too. And so like I've met Anthony, but I have not met Trelina, which is so funny because we're on FaceTime every single day, Trelina, and I've met your husband and I haven't met like you, like in person.
Cute. I love how close you guys are.
Yeah. So
yeah, if we want to do like back to back, we can like hang out in your room or Trelina's room to do you guys at the same time. Like totally, I love that.
We need to like do something because Trelina's a great time, so she'll keep us entertained.
Yeah. She's so funny. Maybe the most hilarious author
Oh,
I've ever seen here on social media.
she is, and like, I love her because like she's exactly what you obviously met her in person, but like conversations like not on social media, like she's the same person. You know what I mean? Like she is just like that is Trelina, and I love her.
The Star-Crossed Duet, like I'm obsessed with it. I read it and was like, it's gonna make one of my top reads of the year. I loved it so much, and it's so different from Tangled and Tinsel, but also gave Tangled and Tinsel 5 stars and was like so she's like so multifaceted and like talented in genre. Or I mean, it's all spicy, but as far as like I don't know, it was like more serious, a little bit darker,
and she's just like. I mean, there's so many. Like, I don't think she's gonna write them all. Or I know they're not soon, but like, she literally will like randomly be like say like one sentence of like a story idea she has, and 10 minutes later she's got the whole entire like story. And like I'm just like with popcorn, like listening to her tell like everything that happened, and I'm like, how is your brain like this? Like she's
her
just
voice messages are just like the best. Where she's just like, okay, hear me out.
yeah, I just love her. I love her so much, and she just.
So you guys are gonna be meeting for the first time at Book Bonanza?
No, I'm excited.
I love that so much.
I am excited.
Well, thank you for giving me so much of your time. I know we've been almost an hour and a half, so I don't want to take up too much more. I could literally sit here and like chat with people forever.
Patty happy.
Yeah.
I will see you at Book Bonanza like a month. I'm excited.
I know, in a month. It's so crazy. I feel like June is gonna be wild because I have the Joe Arden event in LA next weekend. And then I feel like I come home and I have something at home the next weekend, but then it's like 2 more weeks and then it's Book Bonanza. And I'm like, crazy. And then we come home and the next weekend is 4th of July weekend. And it's just like a lot.
And then not too long. And October's Italy, right? Isn't it October you said? November 1st.
Yeah.
God. I'm jealous. I don't know if you follow her, but I love Alex Earl. Like I like totally given into the Alex Earl craze. She's in Italy right now. She's like a TikToker. She's like a 21-year-old, 22-year-old, but like she like literally blew up on TikTok.
Are you talking about the blonde?
Yes.
I don't think I knew her name.
Yeah, well she's in Italy right now. And I'm like, I want to go to Italy.
She just always does like those transition videos and
yeah, she's just like
she reminds me a lot of my little sister.
I love that.
Yeah. As far as like personality, they don't look alike or anything, but
she's having like she's in Italy and it just looks gorgeous and I want to go.
And my sister totally full up in her apartment. She'll have like dramatic photo shoots with all her supplies in like her tiny little place.
I love that though. That's fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. You'll be hearing from me in a few weeks to get like more scheduling done for that. But thanks for chatting with me. I loved your book. My book club loved your book. And I had fun, you know, gory birth stories, smut.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, that was like a lot.
Covered it all.
We did. We just got a round total.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. And I'm so excited to read your next book.
Okay. Yeah, you'll have to let me know.
I'll keep you updated.
Okay.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.